I don't know what else to do. I don't have a soda tonight. I have coffee. So,
Nice.
welcome.
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 Welcome back to the Unhinged BookCast. This is a book podcast hosted by two book besties. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess. Whether this is your first time joining or you've been here from the start, we are happy and thankful you are joining us.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight we are finishing up The Ever King by L.J. Andrews with chapters 35 through the end, plus the bonus content. We will discuss the end of the book and then make sure to let you know when we start discussing the bonus content in case you haven't read it yet.
You can join our discussions chapter by chapter in our club on the Fable app without spoilers. We have one book club for the current podcast read and another for the book besties Thursdays.
Book Besties Thursdays is more of a monthly book club where we read a book together and discuss it as a whole, just like a book club. And we've been a little behind, but with summer break approaching, we should both be able to get a chunk of that TBR read.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, Fable, and right here on YouTube for new episodes, updates, and fun book related content.
And don't forget to share. It helps us grow and reach new friends. But before we get started, we need to give a quick content warning.
We are reading romantic fantasy books that tend to include violence, open door romance, and other rowdy piety. Uh, fuck me.
Oh my God, it's the longest intro ever. Though our conversations tend to skirt these topics, we do frequently use naughty words that are not intended for listening ears.
Jesus.
Sorry, I almost.
Can
Maybe we'll
we?
stop giggling.
I doubt it. Okay. We are having a giggle fest tonight. All right. So somehow we have new characters. Who do you
Kind
have?
of. I couldn't remember if we had actually been introduced to Murdoch or not yet. But
I I feel like at one point in the beginning of the book, it was like send a missive to Murdoch or something like that, but
yeah,
that was
we
like
heard
it.
his name. Okay, so then I think maybe this is the first time we actually met him.
I
And
think so.
so he's the palace bone weaver or healer, but they call him bone
Yep,
weavers. And he's also Blister Poppy's nephew or Poppy's nephew.
yep, yep, yep. And that's all.
That's it. That's
That's
the
all
only
she wrote.
new
Okay.
one, yeah.
And then for location, I have nothing this time.
Yeah.
I'm sure I probably could have put something in there, but I'm gone. Like my brain is
Yeah.
found on the map. So we'll
I,
just
I don't feel like we really had a whole lot of new
other than like where we
places.
leave off this book though, we have who is it? It's Alec,
Hmm.
Tate, um, Eric are stuck on with the Earth Fae, but we also
Hmm.
have the Ever crew is still on the ship, like with Celine.
Yeah.
And then Larson has freaking Livia and they're going to what was it, the Dead Isles?
Yes, I think so. And
Yeah,
that's true. I guess that'd be like the only newish place, although we haven't really gotten there yet, but
yeah. So
we just talked about it.
well, that's what I got.
Okay.
So let's do history and stories from the past.
Okay, there was quite a bit.
Agreed.
All right. We found out a lot of new things or answers to some questions that we had had. So, chapter 36, Eric says, straight from Eric, he says, I killed my mother because I loved her. So, it happened when he was 4, and so
Mm,
this is right before he was taken by the Earth Fae for his blood.
yep.
And so his mom was a sea witch, and we knew that, so she is Narza's daughter.
Hmm.
Um, but because she was a sea witch, her genetics mixed with Thorvald's made Eric's magic very rare. So that's why he was taken. Excuse me. Um, so before that, though, before he was taken, his father was kind of forcing him to start experimenting with his magic on like fish and other little creatures to like poison them and sing them back to health and see how it worked and stuff like that. Um, but his mom hated it, that he was being cruel to these creatures and stuff. And he didn't like it a whole lot either. Um, and then I guess the only reason she was even able to be with her son because the culture was basically that once the king had an heir or any male had an heir, they basically did away with their mate. She was of
Yep.
no need to them anymore. Um,
It's kind of like the
so
theme of, in
yeah,
any way, women are
yes.
not important here
Yeah, no, not at all
of
on
any
the ever.
importance, and that like love isn't really a thing.
Exactly. And so the only reason that Eric was even allowed to like be with his mother or she was allowed to like be with him and see him is because of Lady Narza. And Thorvald was like afraid of her that she would curse him or rescind a blessing, I'm not sure, or maybe both, if he wasn't allowed to be with his mom. So, anyways, he had a really good relationship with his mom up to this point. Um, so Narza gifted his father with that mantle, his mantle or whatever, when his mother became his mate. And she would have taken, that's what it was. She would have taken it back if he had not allowed his mom to be with Eric.
Hmm.
It did say that Thorvald, I don't know, I was confused on this because it did say that he loved his mother, that Thorvald loved Eric's mother. Um,
Yeah.
and okay, this part too. Straight from the book, it said Thorvald did love his mother, and in turn, Eric and his brother is the only time that Eric mentions a
Interesting. I
brother.
missed that.
Yeah, that was straight from the book. I was like,
But he never denies it either,
no.
because when she asks him something like, do you have a brother or something like that, all he
Hmm.
says is, well, shit, or he thinks, well, shit.
Yeah, yep.
Um,
But then he seems confused at the end of the book. That was something I wanted to
yeah.
talk about later when we get to the end of the book because that was confusing. But
But like they figured that he had like bastard sons and stuff like that, but didn't.
yeah, that's true. Okay. So, anyways, his father hated the softness in him, and one day he told Eric that it was time to earn the name of Bloodsinger. He took him to the garden where he found his mother being held restrained by two guards, with a dagger pointed at her, and Thorvald had two chalices of wine that were laced with Eric's poison blood, and they both had to drink one. So he forced the mom to drink one, and then he drank one, and then he commanded Eric to choose between his parents because he can only sing to heal one at a time, basically, before his poison killed the other one. So he had to pick. And he chose his mother, but she wouldn't let him. She like covered his mouth and made him stop singing and begged him to choose his father instead. So he had no choice and he tried to hurry, thinking maybe there was a chance he could save both of them, but he couldn't. So he didn't purposely kill his mom. It just happened that way. Really, Thorvald
Yeah,
did.
just forced to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the day he says he lost his mother, saved his father, but also earned his father's hatred because his father knew that he really did choose his mother over him.
Yep.
And then when Eric was taken by the Earth Fae and his father came for him, he thought he'd finally be proud of him for how hard he fought, but instead Thorvald was angry that they had ruined his perfect heir. And then that's when at this point, this is when we find out that Thorvald like lashed out and attacked the Earth Fae and was killed. Okay. Then in chapter 41, so we find out the little story of why Eric has the limp, which we kind of had it figured, but at this
Yeah.
point we find out the real story. So Eric says,
But it's a,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's an old injury. Like she thought that she did it to him or
Right.
something like that.
Right. And so he says, Eric says, when I was taken captive for my blood, I tried to run, but didn't realize how high the room was from the ground that he was being held in. And when he jumped, it snapped the bones of his leg straight through the skin, and it never healed right. Although the truth was that the bones were never allowed to heal right. He says he'd
Yeah.
been left to become a symbol of the brutality of their enemies in hope of that their people would fight for Harold's revenge and win him the power of the lands on either side of the chasm. So Harold would not allow his leg to heal properly because he wanted to be able to continue using him.
Look
And
at my poor little limp dog, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, she has
Yeah.
them. All right, chapter 41 also. The little
Oh
lesson on
yeah.
the constellations and the dog, the dogs, the
Same
gods.
letters. It's okay.
I'm I quit. Okay, so I also kind of had this, but I didn't
Go
have
for
it
it.
bookmarked like you did.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna
But if
let
you
you do that,
remember,
but no, he was just, it was more or less, I called it like a bedtime story, and it sounds like that's what these are. These are bedtime stories.
yeah, I think you're
It's
right.
he's telling it to her to like help her calm down, I believe. And they're just laying on the beach and he's telling her about the stars or whatever until she falls asleep. but it's like it's a throwback to when like they were kids and she would tell him the stories, remember,
Mm-hmm.
when he
Mm-hmm.
was imprisoned and stuff like that. And so it was more or less one about like a warrior that had his love or whatever, and he killed all the family or whatever, and she still loved him anyway, and so they were both in the sky trying to find each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just cutesy, but
Yeah, and
whatever
she
you
he
have.
well, it basically the same thing. I bookmarked it because at this time this was shortly into, kind of right into what we started reading. So I was like, I don't know, and all the other series we've read, especially coming off our last series, the constellations and the stars were very important.
Important, yeah.
So I was like, I wonder if this is going to be important later, but I kind of don't think it is as far as like foreshadowing goes or anything
I
like
don't
that.
think so, but I mean, like,
I think you're right.
obviously
It
when
was
you're
more like just a
sailing and
cute little
stuff like that,
story.
stars are important for navigation and such.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the only reason I had bookmarked it. I don't think really necessary to go through each little story because I don't think it's going to come back up later. I don't think that's what this book is about, unless you think it
No,
is.
I don't think so.
Okay. Chapter 44. So one of our questions in either the last chunk or the chunk before was Steg, whatever, it's Steg,
Big
I
stag
think.
stug,
Sure. And how
biggeroony.
he acted like he knew Eric, like he called him by the name Eric instead of Bloodsinger
Hmm.
like everyone else did when he saw him when he took Livia. So anyways, story behind Steg is he actually was also being held captive with Eric because we find out also in this chapter that Eric was not taken by Livia's people, the Earth Fae.
Hmm.
He was taken by another realm of the Earth Fae, another, I don't know, clan of Earth Fae that are
Yeah.
not connected to them. So Steg was also held captive with Eric, and he is one of Livia's people.
Hmm.
But he protected Eric as best he could, and that's how they knew each other. And then further, Eric says how when he saw Livia's father there during the rescue, so they did come to rescue. Steg kept saying, "My people will come, they'll come, they'll come," and they did. So Eric says how when they did come to rescue them, when he saw Livia's father during the rescue, he looked ready to kill them. And then Livia shares with Eric that her father was actually cursed with bloodlust by some fake curse. And one of the queens back in her land still calls him the cursed king. She says she's never seen it, but she's heard stories of this rage monster that can come out in him.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then we find out also in chapter 44. So then basically they save Eric and Stig, and then I feel like it's kind of at that same time is when then Thorvald comes also. And um he's obviously not happy with Eric and being unkind to him and saying mean words to him and stuff. And so then Livia's father steps in and says, "Hey, if you don't want him, we'll keep him. Like we'll adopt him basically,
Yeah.
and he'll be welcome here in our lands."
Hmm.
So, all right.
I picked up on that too.
Mm-hmm. They mentioned a couple times, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah,
About how he would have been welcome in the Phalians.
yeah. All right. And then in chapter 44, we also find out that Celine and Gavin's father was
Sua.
lord over, yes. So he was lord over the House of Bones, and apparently committed several crimes against the crown, including keeping Gavin's ability a secret. And Thorvald commanded him to kill his mate, who was a powerful siren. He couldn't do it though, and he hid her away long enough that she then had Celine in hiding.
Hmm.
Then after Thorvald died and Harold found them, and we found this out in chapter 44, and we'll talk more about it later in the bonus chapters, but he found them and killed their mom, and then had Celine's song cut out, and then planned to torture her more and kill her, but Eric stepped in and said he wanted her for his experiments. And then he hid her on his ship and taught her a new way to use her voice and changed her name to Tidecaller. But at this point, no one knows that she's Gavin's sister. And Harold tortured. So again, this is just in chapter 44. What we know is that Harold tortured her father or their father and planned to kill him slowly through torture. But after that first night in captivity, he disappeared and had never been found. And
Hmm.
at this point, it was most likely Gavin had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's all we know for that. right now.
for that at the moment.
Hmm.
Yes. So let's get into plot points, which are just more quick, rapid fire bullet points that we think are important to the story as a whole, or like things that we think will lead to more in the Everqueen.
Hmm.
So me and you had a lot of the same notes. So you go ahead with whatever and I'll go off of it.
Okay. All right. So first in chapter 35. So Narza is telling, I can't remember if it's Livia. I think it's Livia.
Yeah, it's Olivia because Eric is stalked out of the room after he said he killed his mom.
That's right. So she's telling Livia that this bond between them has to be sealed, and it can't be sealed unless Livia sees and accepts every part of him, and says that that was her own daughter's downfall, that she refused to see the blackened parts of Thorvald's heart.
Hmm. Yep.
And then chapter 35. So Narza shares with Livia that there's actually no mantle.
I know. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the
Um,
fuck?
the mark is apparently a symbol of the heart bond that Narza began for the House of Kings. So the mantle's like a placebo, is kind of what I'm gathering.
Yeah, it's more or less just like love, true love.
Yeah.
So
Which also
cute.
makes me think though, so if it's not the mantle necessarily giving the extra power, if it's a placebo, but Livia has this mark of the mantle or whatever on her, if it's more of that like heart bond that lets them like share their powers and increase each other's powers and stuff, it has nothing to do with the actual mantle itself.
Yeah, it's not actually a curse or anything like that.
Hmm.
And then I also had in 35, so I couldn't remember if this was like before that or after that. So obviously Eric leaves the room or whatever, and this is she balls up and storms off to Narza and kind of goes off. And she asks like why she didn't like come for her grandson or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
she's like she couldn't
Yeah.
because Harold had like warded her so that she could not get into the palace
Hmm.
to come to Eric. So,
And then again in 35, so Livia asks Narza, um, with the whole mantle thing, like, what was the gift of the mantle then? And she says basically what we said, a bond of two hearts. An old spell, but one that is nigh unbreakable when truly accepted. It would have given Thorvald the power of every sea, of every house, if he would have embraced and honored the power that comes from such a bond.
moving on to 36. Um, we talked about it earlier, but it is a big plot point, I think. Is that his father was like testing Eric by using his blood to poison like himself and his mother,
Hmm.
to get him to choose to save one or the other, especially like how we were talking about how it's a big thing that we don't want the heirs to be weak or whatever. We want them to be
Hmm.
grow up to be these bloodthirsty men kind of thing. And so he tried to save Mama and pushed and he got like pushed away from Mama. And I do think that that is like a very important trait, more or less, that like to show that like he's not this monster that he was very much pushed out to be, even though he does do some bad boy things. But I
Hmm.
think they're justified so far.
And I think it kind of connects with the whole what Narza kind of set in play with the heart bond thing,
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring about some sort of change, showing that it's not just the brutality and the bloodlust and all that that makes the men strong, that love is not a weakness. And they do say that a couple times in this.
Yeah.
They're like, love is not a weakness.
Yep.
Okay, chapter 40. I couldn't decide if this still belonged in history or plot points, but I always like hearing about what the different powers are that people have. So we find out that
Yeah.
Tate, as a heart walker, can read the desires of someone's heart.
Yeah. That's why he's able to know that like that Livia is not trying to kill off Eric. She really does want to help
Yeah,
him.
that he can trust her.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's when like Tate really starts to kind of open up after that. Not
Yeah, I
open
think
up
so.
because he's still like dark. He's definitely our broody character, but
Oh yeah,
um,
more
turns out
trusting.
more trusting. And yeah, and you were like, I don't know if I trust him, and I'm like, I
Yeah, I
do.
trust him now.
That's what I thought.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk
Okay.
about in 42 when Alec comes through the chasm,
The chasm.
chasm with
So
Gavin.
he comes through basically on Gavin's back because Gavin was
This is what
sent
it
to
sounds like.
go
Yeah.
like I don't know. I can't remember what exactly Gavin was sent to do, like scope
Gavin
things
was
out
going
or
to send a message that basically like she's
Olivia's
fine or
fine.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Alec coming through was not the plan. And it
Mhm.
messed him up pretty bad to go through the chasm.
Well, what happened beforehand is that Alec like he uses illusion magic to pretend to be Eric, and that's how he got Gavin's attention.
Hmm.
And then when Gavin tried to go back through the chasm, that's when he jumped on him, like not letting him go, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So Eric goes to heal him, but he's unsure if he'll make it or not. And the um interesting part, which we know after we read the next chapter, excuse me, the final chapters there, that Eric says, like, if you die and make her despise me again, I'll take back what I did for you in the war. So at this
Yep.
point, I was like, what did he do? Which we find
What
out
did
later
he
what he
do?
did,
What did he
but
do? Exactly.
yeah.
So
So
then
then 43,
43.
like you kind of said, Alec can glamour people with his magic, meaning that he can basically enthrall them and make
But
them, because see, that's
no,
what I
read your whole
got.
damn note. No, read your whole damn note.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Enthrall them like a vampire does, because that's what
And I
I
said that
got
is
from that.
incorrect. I told you there's no fucking vampires. We're all fucking pirates. Anyway, it's illusion magic because he has illusion magic.
Well, no, the cousin has illusion magic. The girl
He
cousin,
has illusion magic.
his is glamour magic. It's different.
No,
It
it's
literally says he enthralled him. See, I don't think that I read that different then because I didn't think that he became Eric or made him think that he was Eric. He makes it so that they are enthralled to them and they have to basically do what he says and when he says it. And that's how he got Gavin.
okay. Well, I'm going to email LJ Andrews and I'm going to be like, hey, girl, we got a problem here. We don't have a problem. Like, I see what you're putting down, but my friend is trying to put vampires in this shit and it's pissing me off. Can you correct her, please, that this is fucking pirates? We do not do vampires here. We do fucking pirates. Okay. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
I doubt I get a response, but if I do, I will definitely let everybody know. That'd be hilarious.
Okay.
Because she'd be like, yeah, girl, you're right. And I'm like, I know. I know. We don't do vampires in the ever. Thank you.
Not a vampire. He just has that one power that's similar to a vampire.
Okay, sure, whatever. It's illusion magic, but
Okay. Okay. So then in 43, we find out what Eric did.
mhm.
And so he did save Tor, because remember, Livia says how when she was younger, when the war was going on, she like, it was the first time she like reached really deep into the earth or whatever. And where I was kind of like, is she an oracle or whatever? And she thought she saw Tor, her uncle, die. And she actually did. He basically
Yeah,
was dead.
he
And
essentially did.
yeah. And so Eric was with Stig in a tree nearby the fighting, and he went and he healed him. And
Yep.
Alex saw it all. And apparently, oh, we talked about this. Livia's people were not the people that kidnapped and tortured Eric. It was a neighboring Earth Fae enemy. And it was her people, her aunts and uncles, and all that who saved him and returned him. And then again in 43, we find out again that her dad was like, we'll keep him if you want. But Thorvald had also just arrived, and that's when he like went nuts, and that's when Livia's dad then had to kill him, basically in self-defense, is what I got out of that.
Yeah, that's what
So
I
he didn't
got to.
intend to kill him. It just he had to
It
because he was
happened.
going
Yeah.
nuts.
Yep. So chapter 45. Real quick. So Stag was also captive. Like I feel like that
Hmm.
is going to be important as well.
I think he's going to be an important character.
Yeah, because I think he's coming back.
Oh yeah.
Because at first we were like, is he bad?
Yep.
I don't think he's bad, but I could be wrong.
No, I think he's going to help Eric get Livia back, honestly.
Yeah, could easily be, or he'll be the reason that like, no, we can trust him or something like that. Because
Yeah, yep, that's
right now
true.
he's only thinking all we have is Alec and Livia,
Yeah.
and obviously Livia's gone. So now
Hmm.
we're trying to get help to go get Livia, and we have the king that has just wants to beat the shit out of people. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I just want to put in here, like, it could also be in honorable mentions, but like Eric invites Alec to the boy party in the dungeon
Yeah.
to go interrogate the assassins or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is also like he's like just so open to like taking Alec. So it really just shows like his trust of like, okay, because Alec was like, I'll stay here in her place, like whatever you need,
Mm-hmm.
like I'll do what I need to do, whatever. And so I think it just shows like that, I don't know, character building
Yeah.
of him. You know what I mean? Like he's like, yeah, I trust this guy, like just like I trust Gavin, um and also that he's like he's a good person, even though he's going to go torture people. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Sure. Just don't think too hard about it.
yep, yep,
All right. Chapter 46. She is the Ever Queen.
yes. So she doesn't just like sit on the crown herself. She sits on it. But she doesn't sit on the throne herself. Like Eric puts
Mm-hmm.
her on the crown.
Yes.
Um, and but like gives her also the option, like if you want to stay and be queen, you can be kind of thing. And I thought that was cool. And then like
Yep.
just this whole speech of like shit's changing. Like things need to fucking change. Like this is we are done with this bullshit. Like
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. There's no reason for me to do this all by myself, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so slay what I got.
Yes.
Um, and then I also have chapter 48. I said, I beg your fucking pardon.
Yes.
Larson, you traitorous little bitch boy. But I also did pick up in this that Larson was saying something to Tate about how like Tate knew that Eric killed his father, which was Harold.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, so Eric killed Harold, because I don't think we had heard anything about like who killed him or how Harold died or anything like that. I think it was
No.
actually even a discussion we had last time, but
Well, it's been said, like the rumor is that he was killed in the war.
yep, but that was it.
Yep.
Yep. And so and we do get to find that out later.
Yeah.
But I picked that up. I was like, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, one last detail in chapter 48 is that Larson actually admits to being the one that started the whole darkening thing and the like sickness
Uh-huh.
that the land has.
With the
And he
help of
was the one
a
that sent the assassins.
sewage.
Yep.
Oh. Oh wait, that's 49
Well,
that we say it's like with the help of a sea witch.
I can't remember. I think it was Sea Witch, but also Larson, I think has help from the Dark Fae too, because Harold was
The
like
dark
all
fae.
about the Dark Fae and using
Yeah.
the Dark Fae. And I think t Larson being from both worlds, essentially,
Uh-huh.
also, and I could that
Is
maybe I'm theorizing. I actually can't remember if I'm theorizing or if I read that.
I I think it's theorizing, but I think
Okay.
it's supposed to be theorizing. I think he is a dark fae, and like that is
Oh.
the dark fae are like the ones that are in between. And I feel like that's who we really had a war with,
Mm.
who started the war and all the things is that dark fae,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
those in betweens kind of thing.
It's interesting though how like Larson almost seems like he's trying to fix his mistake. He kind of makes it seem that way when he's talking to Tate about it. That's why he sent the assassins to gather her blood or whatever, thinking that it would be the thing that helped with the fix the darkening or darkness or whatever. And he's like trying to fix it now.
I feel like there was a reason why though,
I
but
think
I
you're
don't
right. I
remember.
don't remember either.
Yeah. I think they were gonna try and fix it and be like, oh look, he can fix it kind of thing. He should be the king of the ever or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, he has help of a sea witch. We know that, which I'm
Yeah,
betting is
we do know
fucking
that.
Fiona.
Oh, Fiona. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet you're
Yeah.
right. I
Because all
bet
she
you are
wants
right.
is she's supposed to be mated or whatever to Eric, and she's like very sour and bitter about it.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
she just wants the power and all that kind of shit. So I'm betting
Yeah,
it's
I
her.
bet you are right.
Yeah. We are definitely getting into thoughts and theories, but
We are a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. We have a
yeah.
lot to talk about with the bonus chapters later anyways, so.
I thought I interrupted you. You had a
No, you're good.
chapter
So then,
49 note.
yeah, chapter 49. So Sewell says, two eels, wind whisperer, where wind whisper tales of two eels. Eric says, winds meant rumors to Sewell. Two eels, two of me. a bastard of Thorvald? Question mark. And then Sewell goes on to talk of what he's heard. Um, and I know I know I pulled it up in the book. But anyways, he basically talks about how he saw Thorvald with a fox, and the
Yeah.
fox would be, he refers to Alec and Livia both as foxes. So
Foxes.
it's like
Earth Fae.
eels are, at least foxes are Earth Fae in Sewell talk.
And I
And
think
so,
the eels are like sea witchy.
well, he talks, I mean, Eric straight up says they're two eels, two of me.
Oh, two of me. Yeah.
So I can't figure out in Sewell talk if eels is like the royal house or if that's just like people of the Ever, because he also refers to Selene the
As
same
an
way
eel.
as an
Yeah.
eel. So I think maybe eels in Sewell talk is Ever people and foxes are Earth Fae.
Yeah.
Um, but he talks, Sewell says how he saw Thorvald with a fox, and that's what makes Eric think, that Larson is a halvesy, half
Halsey.
Ever,
A
half
Biested.
Earth Fae. Yeah.
Yep. And
Oh, and then
then a
you
couple
already did
more,
yours.
yeah, a couple more notes from chapter 49,
And
which was
then
a big kind of like, a-
segue.
yeah, into our bonus chapters. But like, I think we already kind of talked about this. We've already said
Hmm.
about how he's like a father figure, but I definitely didn't see Sewell actually being
Right.
Celine and Gavin's
He
father.
actually is. Yeah, Sewell is Celine and Gavin's father. And
Yep.
that is pretty close to how I mean, it's not exactly how the book ends, but that's like the big mic drop
A,
thing I feel
a
like
big
of
mic drop.
the
Yeah.
last chapter of this book is that he is their father. I was like, what?
Hmm.
Wow. And then in chapter 49, so Tate and Eric confirm that Eric killed Harold and says that Eric had his loyalty, Tate's loyalty, before that day, but even more so after. And then we find out later how terrible Harold was to Tate and understand why. So yeah, I trust Tate now.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then, like, because we didn't put it in here, but like, we end this book out and Livia's gone.
Yeah,
She's
we didn't put
with
it in.
headed on a boat with Larson
Hmm.
off to do mischievous shit. Well, she's not, but he is. And then we have Alec is like, okay, well, we need help to go get her back, so we're going back to my people to go get help. And the king's probably gonna try to get your head, so stay close.
Hmm.
And so we have Celine is with the rest of the Ever crew, and she's in charge of the Ever ship, but
Hmm.
she is staying near the chasm. and
Yep.
um and then it's just Eric, Alec, and Tate are the ones that are climbing up, and they're like, it's really weird that there's like nobody here or whatever. And then they find out it's illusion magic, and they have Tate and Alec in the trap, but they don't know that Alec's in the trap yet.
Hmm.
And it's Jonas that comes up and gets Eric, and he's like, yeah, basically the king's gonna fucking kill you, dude. Like, you
Yep.
fucked, sir. And so that is where we leave off in this book. So massive cliffhanger, sucks. I want to keep going.
Yeah.
So let's talk about clues and honorable mentions.
Quotes, and honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Okay,
that one.
that one. It's okay. It's already been a night.
It's already been a night.
Okay, I just have one in chapter 35. So Livia says, I can't remember if she's talking to Narza or Eric, but I think she's talking to Eric, but no, actually she's talking to another female. It doesn't matter, one way or another. I thought it was cute. She says, where I am from, women do not pit themselves against each other over a man and title. Her eyes were dark,
Talking to
glazed with
Fionn.
nothing. Okay, I was wondering if that's who it
Yeah.
was. Um, yeah, so it says her eyes were dark, glazed with nothing but scorn. Then you won't survive long here. Livia says, I clenched my fist. You think him weak, but it is not a weakness to stumble. It is not a weakness to show you have a heart or to need others to hold you up at times,
I
which
like
is a
that.
big
That's cute.
theme, I think, of this book.
Yes. Yes. And I will say they are very like insta love.
Yeah.
but I really like how just like cutesy they are at the same
Yeah.
time. And like you can tell like there's a friendship there also. It's really
Yes.
cute. And I like that. So I think this would be like a friends to enemies to lovers.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a friends to lovers, but there's like some enemy there, but it's like obviously misplaced and they all realize that. But
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, so it's like friends to enemies to lovers.
Yep.
Over time, childhood friends. Second chance at love. I don't fucking know. But
Sure.
and then also I just made sure I put in here that I also told you Tate wasn't bad. So
Yes, you were right.
didn't see
You
Larson
usually are.
coming, but
No, I did
like I
not
totally
either.
thought like it was just Harold was actually alive.
I know, me too.
And he
I
was
was
the
just like
bad,
in
big
hiding
bad, but
somewhere.
apparently it's gonna be Larson and probably Theo
Yep.
that are our bitch problems. So
Yep.
okay, so I feel like we need to make an amendment on our love boat. So
Yep,
Love
we do.
Island, and who is no longer
Definitely
being shipped to it.
definitely not Celine and POS Larson anymore.
Yep.
I was actually kind of on that boat there for quite a while, boat. Um, but I also kind of wonder if Celine and Alec will end up being a thing. I really don't see any like evidence there, but it just seems like that might work.
Me too. That was my thought. I'm like,
Yeah,
like it just the way they were just like all getting along so
they were,
well and stuff
yeah.
like that. I'm like, yeah, Alec is gonna be part of the crew. Like I
Oh
see it
yeah.
coming. It's coming for sure. All right. So what are your thoughts and theories? Thoughts on the Ever King and theories for the Ever Queen?
Um, so I didn't see the ending coming. I definitely didn't see Larson coming or Livia being captured
Right, me
or
too.
any of that. That was a definitely out of the blue thing. Um, like you said, I really thought that Harold was going to be the big bad and he was in hiding somewhere or whatever, and he was the one we were going to end up fighting. But this whole like Larson being a half and half, didn't even realize that was a possibility or thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really, other than the theories I've kind of already talked about, I don't really have a ton of other like theories. Obviously, I think they're going to get her back. That's going to be a big part of the next book.
Yep.
And the next book is called The Ever Queen. So she's going to
Makes
actually
sense.
come into that power. It's a duology. So I feel like that's going to get wrapped up. But I think Steg is going to end up, like you said, I think he's going to end up being an ally. And one of the main reasons probably that they are able to trust Eric and listen to him and not just kill him. And then
Yeah.
Steg is going to be a big part of helping because Steg and Livia seem to have a pretty good relationship. Um,
Yeah.
she talks about him a lot in the beginning of the book, having her little crush on him when she was a kid and how he's always helped her learn to fight and been there for her and stuff. So I think he's going to be a really big in-between person and help get her
Yep.
back. But I think Narza and the good sea witches and stuff are going to come into play here too. I think we're going to get to hear more about the Dark Fae. I hope so. And I like your thought on Larson possibly being one of these Dark Fae. That one I
Mhm.
had not thought about. So that's interesting, and I'm going to add that to my thoughts now too.
Your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. What I got for
Okay.
now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my theories are the same. They've all kind of come out in this.
Hmm.
I've been so blindsided by this book somehow. I didn't see most of it coming, so I don't know that I have much for theories, which is really cool because it like never happens. Usually I can predict a book, but like we
Yeah.
said before, like my brain's going 900 miles an hour and I still have
It's
two
been a
more
month.
weeks before my life slows down. So, um,
Hmm.
that might be why I haven't just been full theorizing and stuff, but um I do just want to say that like I think I've said it before is I really like when you get like a good backstory for the male character as well.
Me too.
And I feel like we have been getting it, but I don't feel like we've gotten much of Livia's, which is kind of weird
That
being
is
in the
true.
FMC.
Hmm.
But it's very much like not exactly every other chapter switching between them, but it's definitely both of their stories.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's part of it or not, but I like it. Obviously, Eric has way more backstory than she does, it sounds like, but
Yeah.
Um, I like it. It's really, I really, really like it. I do
Me
like
too.
that we get his backstory, and I'm beyond excited to keep reading. So,
I
that's all I
do
got.
have questions still about, maybe not as many questions now, but I still wonder why Olivia feels so drawn to, because she keeps, they say it over and over and over in this book, how she's drawn to the Ever and she's drawn to the seas and stuff like that, and how she can even
Yeah,
handle the Ever world better than some of her other Earth Fae would be able to. And is it just because, I mean, what we learned about the whole mantle thing,
I think so.
you know, that it's like this bond, so now that she has this bond, that's why she's connected to it, or is there more to it? Is she special?
I know we thought
Not
about
because of
that
the mantle.
stolen baby stuff. I don't
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on
think
that
so.
ship
The
anymore.
only thing that keeps me on that boat is just how they were saying the king, like her dad, was
Hmm.
very open to like not adopting Eric, but more or less like letting
Yep.
him live there and be part of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could still be a thing just for that.
There's
Because
a
they said like,
small part of
oh, this
me.
is a some kind of random baby that we found and we're gonna
Yeah.
take care of it. But it could be a sea witch and who knows what else.
Yeah, there's a small part of me that still wonders if she
Hmm.
was stolen. But then you think about her magic and how her magic is connected to the earth, not the water, not the
Yeah.
seas. She doesn't have a song or anything like that. So I I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could just be the mantle. We could be overthinking it. It could just be the fact that she's now has this bond and that's why she feels drawn to the seas as well. I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Craig counter. What do you got?
I'm not. I have a nothing.
I'm
It was
so
close. It was a
when was it
close
close?
in the bonus chapters.
Oh Jesus. Okay, yeah. Okay. We'll get there in a minute.
We'll get there. It was really close, and I think if I hadn't been like exhausted and trying to just get through them, thinking that we were gonna be recording that night, and we didn't end up
I
recording that night, but I
no, I'm
was
sorry.
no, it's all good. But I think if I had a minute to really embrace those chapters the way that I usually would, I probably would have had a cry, at least a half cry. But I did not, so I'm still gonna put it at 0.
Okay.
Had the
Okay.
feels, but no tears.
I had the feels. Yeah, this whole book has had me in the feels.
Yeah,
Um, cool. So book rating. What did you rate the book?
I gave it 5 stars.
Me too. It was a full 5 stars for me.
Wow.
There's definitely things like I said, like I didn't like, but like when I was thinking about it overall, I was like, this is a 5 star book for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't actually, I was trying to be kind of picky and I couldn't actually think of anything that gave me the ick or made me frustrated or really made me not like it in any way. So I was like, yeah, it gets 5 stars.
Yeah, I had a couple like quirks here and there. Oh my goodness. Like the Insta love and stuff like that. But it's like it's
Oh,
kind
I
of
love that.
explained, but yeah. And so this mind speak thing that's obviously going on, I'm just ignoring it at this point.
I love that stuff.
It's like I know you do, but it's just like it's stuff that I don't like, but I'm like, but it
Yeah,
doesn't make it a bad story just
true.
because I don't like it.
Hmm.
And people have opinions all the time. It doesn't mean it's a bad book.
No,
So
it
five
was a great
stars
book.
for sure, 5 stars.
Great book.
And I feel like this is the first book we've ever agreed on.
I think you're right.
I think this is the first book we've both ever agreed on.
Wow. Okay,
So
so I think Pirates is the way to
pirates
go
for
for
the
both of
win. I
us.
fucking told you. Fuck the vampires. We're on a pirate journey. No fucking vampires here. Okay. So now we are going to discuss the bonus content found at the end of the Ever King. In case you haven't read it, we are giving you this heads up.
If you're bailing out now, we hope you come back next week for the start of The Everqueen by L.J. Andrews with chapters 1 through 18.
Okay. You took all the freaking notes. I did not.
That's okay. I don't feel like I really
So,
took notes. I just kind of summarized each chapter and I can just read my little summaries and then we can talk about them. I just didn't want
okay.
to forget what they were about. So,
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I just kind of just kept moving on. So you go for it.
okay. So first, I just started a whole new new character section for the bonus chapters just because we did have one new character and I knew we didn't want to talk about it in the
Yeah.
beginning, like in the main book part. So our one new character would be Eula, which is Gavin and Celine's mother. So we talked about her, but
Yep.
we didn't know her name. Eula is her name. All right, so then
See
chapter
which.
one, because it was in chapters, so we had six chapters, and they were all from the point of view of either Sewell or Gavin. Um, so chapter one tells of the beginnings when it's found out that Harold has found Eula and Celine, and then Sewell went to where they were, um, or where they're like hiding, because he had them hiding. He had hidden them on the outskirts of the House of Mist. So he kind of heard that there was something going on and was like, crap, I think they've been found. I'm gonna go see what's up. That was our
Mhm.
chapter one.
Yep.
Do you have any other notes on that?
No.
Okay. And obviously this is all before. This is before
Yeah,
Sewell
this is
lost his
all
mind
before. Like the
and
kids are
his
little.
thoughts. The kids are little. I think Gavin's 9 and Celine is 4 at this time.
Yeah, and then
So
Eric is a year younger than
he's 8.
Gavin. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then chapter 2. So Sewell gets to the House of Mists and is greeted by Lady Narza, who then helps him and Gavin. Um, because he had taken Gavin with him to go see what was going on. And Narza warns him like basically, yeah, Harold has them and you should not be taking Gavin with you. And so they make a little deal that Narza's gonna help Gavin and take him back to the House of Bones or whatever and make it seem like he doesn't know anything and protect him. And then so Harold and his goons do have Celine and Eula. They kill Eula. It's all very gory, but we don't need to go into that part. Um, and then we find out that Sewell has the ability to slaughter with his song, which is pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool. And Harold's ability is to take others' power and render them unable to use it. So he doesn't like take it and be able to use it himself. He just makes it, he like blocks them so they can't use their own power. But it
Yeah.
doesn't work on the Earth Fae. It only works on the Ever people.
Chapter 3.
All right. So in chapter 3, we see Eric and Gavin as young boys.
Yeah, this is now we jump to Gavin's point of view.
Yes, so I think this is our first Gavin point of view chapter. And so Eric is 8, Gavin is 9, and Gavin tells Eric of what Harold is doing, and then this is when Eric finds out about Celine for the first time.
Yep.
And then, oh, go ahead. Do you have any
Chapter
thoughts on that?
4. No,
Okay.
that's all I had. Like I said,
Okay.
I just kind of had the feels, and that was about it.
Yeah. All right, chapter 4. So we see Harold on the throne with a dark fae behind him, and this dark fae seems to basically be the one calling the shots. Like
Hmm.
Harold's speaking, but he's obviously being used by this dark fae.
Oh, you think so?
Not necessarily like he's a puppet. I think they
Okay.
were working together. But this dark fae, whoever this is, has quite a bit of power.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. Um, and so Harold has Celine. They're like in the Great Hall or whatever, and he has Sewell there also, and basically tells Sewell either I kill her or you kill her. It'll be a lot nicer for her if you do it.
Yep.
And right about when that's about to happen, Eric steps in at 8 years old, which I just keep thinking about my own son who is almost 8 years old and like, oh my gosh, like how young that is.
Yeah, I know.
And he's technically king, Eric is, but Harold calls the shots until he's 10, I think we found out.
10 or 12 or
10 or
something like that.
12,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I think you're right. But anyways, he does still have some power. So he comes in and he demands that Celine be given to him instead of being,
To use for his experiments or
yep, be
whatever.
used for his experiments or whatever. So, and that was his way of, obviously he wasn't going to do that. That was his way of saving her after
Getting
Gavin
her
told
out.
him what
Yeah.
was going on. And then this is the chapter where we see why Sewell can't put a full thought together. Because
Mhm.
this chapter ends with Sewell basically having his skull smashed in multiple times.
Yeah,
And
and he
that's why he
continued
can't
to
think
do
straight.
it. Yep.
Hmm. Um,
Yep.
chapter 5, this is how we learn of how Eric and Gavin get Sewell out of the dungeon, which I thought was
A cute
was
little
pretty
bucket of
cool.
water and yeah.
I thought it was cute. I'm just imagining, I mean, it's not cute, but imagining this little 8 and 9 year old little boys, like that are obviously acting like grown-ups, right? Making this plan. this very stressful, large plan to rescue somebody, and then executing this plan was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just you think about the ages that they are. I mean, they're
Hmm.
younger than your youngest.
Yep.
It's
And it
crazy.
just shows like also just more character for Eric of just
Oh, yeah.
backstory and all that. And like he's always has been good
Hmm.
in a way, not good, but doing what's right, I guess is a better way of putting
Yeah.
that.
He has a good heart, even though he says it's black.
It is a black heart, but it does the right things.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And then our final bonus chapter, chapter 6. So this was new information. So Blister Poppy
yeah.
also, or Poppy, she also knows about everything. She knows about Sewell. She knows about Gavin and Celine, about all that stuff, because she's the one who healed Sewell after Gavin gets him out, as much as she could after he was rescued. And she's the one who helps the boys come up with the plan to hide Sewell and Celine in plain sight on the ship. And Poppy tells Sewell to stick close to Eric and teach him what it is to be loved and teach him that love is not a weakness.
Yes. And that's like a big theme of this book too. So,
Hmm. Because also Sewell is, and they mentioned this in the bonus chapters a couple times, he is abnormal in the fact that he is like loving and tender towards his own son. And
mm-hmm.
like there's this whole big like in the very first chapter, he's like, I gotta go, things are up with my wife and daughter and stuff. And then Gavin walks in, this little 9-year-old boy walks in, and he's like, no situation is too big to stop and give my son a hug. I was like, oh, that was almost a cry moment for me. That's a good
Yeah,
reminder. It's always a
it
good
is a good
reminder.
reminder.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And he says how him being tender towards his son and not treating him the way that like Harold treats Tate or Thorvald treated Eric was abnormal. And the fact that he loved his wife and refused to offer when he was told to after she had given him an heir and all that was also abnormal. And so what a good example for Eric to have on his ship all those years.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But I also think Blister Poppy is important. We kind of knew that, but I think even after this, especially after this last chapter, she's
She's
also
more.
going to be important. She knows everything. She knows some
Yeah. And she's
pretty
our
big
free spirit. She
secrets.
doesn't like
She's not
part
loyal
of
to any
anything.
house.
Yeah.
And but she's also Murdoch's aunt. We find that
Hmm.
out too. And I'm wondering if Murdoch, how much he knows, if he knows anything with her being his aunt, and if he's going to end up being a problem or neutral or helpful in the future.
I think he's gonna be helpful.
I think so too.
And I'm still keeping my eyes on Alistair. Like I know he wasn't part of this bonus content, but
Yeah,
I'm still keeping my eyes on Alistair.
me too.
I
I
think he's
don't
a good
know.
dude. I
Yeah.
think he is a good dude. And I think well, because he's been I think he wants to also have a better kingdom and all that because
Hmm.
he's been with five ever kings or something like
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah. And
he
he's seen all of
knows
them through this same culture of
through the
like
same process over and over and over again. And he
brutality,
probably sees the hope
bloodlust, all
in
that.
Eric and all
Hmm.
that. So
Yep.
yup. Well, that's all I had. So unless you have anything else, I think we can be
Nope.
donezo for the night.
Yeah, I think so. All right. We hope you have all enjoyed reading The Ever King by L.J. Andrews with us. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, Fable, and right here on YouTube as we continue our journey through the Everseas.
Next week, we are continuing the series with Book Two, The Ever Queen by L.J. Andrews, starting with chapters 1 through 18.
If you can't wait to talk about it, you can do so over on the Fable app and discuss with us spoiler-free chapter by chapter.
And as always, buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties, and if you don't have any book besties,
Then become one of ours. And until next week, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books with spice.
Bye.
Bye.